Hey guys, in today's episode we have a very special request. A few weeks ago I received a picture of a ski helmet with some stickers on it. What stickers? Well, of course bunny stickers. But they were so old I didn't even have the files anymore. Shit happens. Then again another message asking if I could paint on a brand new helmet. Not only that, but I can draw whatever I want on it. So I look for a helmet, place the order, and in the meantime I'll think about what to draw. Before I start drawing, I need to get an idea for our project. The fact that I can draw whatever I want helps a lot and it gives me total freedom. However, I want it to be cool, so I'm going to do some research. Let's go online and see if we can find some inspiration. I'll open my iPad and search for some images of ski equipment. Okay, I'm on the right track. I'll search for a 3D model so we can move on to the sketch. Once I find the model, I'll import it in Procreate where you can draw directly on it. Quite a useful feature for textures. So now we can sketch without risking damaging the helmet. At this stage, I'll start out by drawing as loosely as I can. I just want to figure out the shapes and where the characters will be. After this, I'll come up with a cleaner sketch with more details over the messy one. Alright guys, it took some time, but this is what the final sketch looks like. I love how it turned out, but it's getting late, so I finish up tonight and get some sleep. In the morning, I receive a notification saying that my package will be here around noon. Okay guys, I got the package, let's see how the helmet looks. I'm curious to see if the sketch I did earlier will fit on this new helmet, because I have some holes in the back and the front, but I'm sure everything will turn out fine. Now, for the next step, let's prepare the helmet for painting. The first thing I'll do is take some tape and mask the areas I want protected from paint. This is the most important step in the whole process. It has to be masked perfectly to avoid mistakes later on. Okay, after taping everything, I'll use a cutter to cut around the shape of the helmet to ensure the tape fits perfectly and doesn't cover the area I'll be drawing on. Once I double checked and I'm sure everything is okay, we can move on to the next step. For this, I'll need some sandpaper. It's recommended to sand before drawing. This will help the paint stick to the helmet, especially since the material is kind of a plastic. I'll give it a few passes to make sure it's equally sanded on each side, then we can move on to the primer. I use Montana primer, which I shook well beforehand. Don't forget to wear a mask because it's very toxic, especially in enclosed spaces. I'll apply several coats of primer, then give it a few more passes with the sandpaper to make sure everything is smooth. Then I'll apply the final coats of primer and we're done. I'll let the helmet dry for 24 hours before starting sketching. In the meantime, I'll make myself something to eat and then we're gonna call it a night. The next day the primer has dried and we can start the sketch. I'll try to reproduce what I did on the iPad very carefully. It's quite complicated to draw on something round, but the sketch is starting to take shape. I've made a bunch of bunnies interacting with each other. Now I cannot wait to move on to the colors. I feel like it's going to look great. The sketch is done and I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out. I managed to incorporate all the characters, even though I have those holes in the back and front, but somehow I got past them. Now it's time for colors. Alright, I'll start with the background, so I need some shades of blue. I'll try to create a gradient with a dry brush. Well, it's a bit more complicated with acrylic paint, but I think I did a good job. After adding some stars with white, our sky is ready. I'll use some green from Molotov and a pop it as a palette, then with a thicker brush I'll fill in the area with trees behind the characters. Then I'll start adding the base colors for each character individually. And I gotta say, I love it when I have projects that allow me to draw what I usually do, because no matter how much time I put into them, it feels really rewarding. For today's drawing, I'm going to use most of the markers I have, so there will be a lot of color. I generally like to use light and vibrant shades in my drawings. In general, pink, poison green and yellow appear in almost all of my works. There are quite a few characters, so it will take a while until they're all done. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends, it surely helps me a lot. Also, I have a Discord channel where you can participate in giveaways and community projects. Alright guys, I've almost filled in all the characters and the drawing is starting to look really good. I'll continue with the rest of the elements and then we'll move on to the shadows and details. Just like earlier, I'll start with the trees and then I'll use a darker shade of green to give them some depth. Then I'll do the same for each element individually until they look right. Even without the outline, we can see how the characters start to stand out. This is my favorite part because I can improvise when it comes to filling. So far, I'm very pleased with how it turned out and I hope the client likes it too. And I gotta say, I really love how the gold and chrome look on the characters. Really nice. Once I'm sure all the shadows are in place, I'll move on to the highlights and the rest of the patterns of the bunnies. Now that we are done with the colors, it's time to put down the brush and move on to the outline. For this, I'll use markers, specifically Posca acrylic and liners of different sizes. This is the most important part of the whole process. I'll be careful to draw the lines as straight as possible, but I won't lie, it's quite difficult when the surface you're drawing is not flat. Nevertheless, I hope it turns out well. done with the left side, but we still have a lot of bunnies left to paint. However, it's already starting to look good. The outline brings out each character's color. And once I'm sure everything is okay, we can move on to the other side, where just like before, I'll give each character some detail until they look right. Besides the outline, I really like how the blue highlight looks against the black background of some of the bunnies. It took a few days, but it turned out great. I cannot wait to finish this part and see the final result. I've been drawing these characters in various forms for many years, stickers, posters, toys, but never a ski helmet. However, it was a fun challenge and I'm very glad I followed through to the end. I hope to receive more items like this to paint on in the future, and if you have any ideas, feel free to write them in the comment section below, and who knows, maybe your idea can be the next clip. Alright guys, finally the moment we've been waiting for. The only thing left to do is outline the trees, and then it's time for the reveal. Well, that's about it for today's episode. I'm really glad I finished the helmet on time, so it even got to see some snow. I'm looking forward to your feedback in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and until next time, see you right here on the Bunny Network.